Greetings to the chilling podcast of Sabrina. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And this is the preview episode for part 3 of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina that is going to be hitting Netflix very soon.
You're
Yes.
not going to recap the whole season before in this bullshit, are you?
They're called parts, and we're going to do both of them.
Yes, and we're going to do every episode, and I'm going to do all of the lines.
Holy shit.
Is that okay?
No, it's
And the
not
sound
okay.
What do you
effects.
think
Nobody
a
wants
recap
that.
is? What do you
Dude.
think a recap is?
Justin brought an entire, huge sheet of aluminum so he can make the thunder
I'm going to do all the sounds.
and a slide
Foley
whistle
artist JT says.
and a washboard.
Yep.
For our jug band.
Yeah,
I was
let me be
acting.
honest. This is a jug band. This is for our jug band rehearsal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the sheet metal.
Wow.
Pete, what sounds are you going to
I'm not going to be a part of this. It's pretty bad.
Let me be honest. I bet Pete plays the spoons.
Oh, probably.
This guy's a bad.
Spoon man.
No,
All right.
that's not quite what we were talking about. So we have recapped every episode of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix so far. There have been 2 parts that comprise the first season. Part 3 is getting into the
Don't
second season.
lie.
I am not lying. This is how it works.
This is so dumb. It should be seasons. Don't part it up.
I'll tell you what. Talk to Ted Sarandos, your good friend. Call him on the phone. People don't know this, but Ted Sarandos, who is the head of Netflix, and Pete went to high school together. They were in a marching band. Pete played the slide whistle, and Ted played the washboard.
And when you guys were marching, you were like, "Man, I love movies. I wish I could get them faster or better."
He took that whole thing from me.
That's
Yeah.
fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Do you remember when
It was originally called Pete Flicks.
Yeah, you used to go out into the woods and you looked at that small river and you're like, we need some sort of streaming service.
It's good.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
So let's do some recap. Let's talk about what happened so far on Sabrina. Now, Sabrina Spellman is half witch. We thought she was half human. Turns out she was actually half Lucifer. Lucifer, the head of hell, was actually her father. That was a big reveal at the end of the last season.
So you could just say she's half demon.
Sure, he's not actually a demon. He's a fallen angel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half angel, half witch.
Yeah, all badass. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, yo. And Sabrina rejected the throne of hell. She rejected marrying her own father, so good on her. But in order to trap Lucifer, he was trapped inside a flesh acheron, which is a prison made out of her boyfriend, Nick Scratch, the original bad boy.
Yeah, that's my dude.
And
How did you feel to have your dude turned into a flesh prison?
It's sad because I also feel like I'm trapped in the flesh prison of Nick Scratch.
Okay. I thought you were talking about your own flesh prison.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're
yeah,
all kind of living in a flesh prison.
That's true.
Yes. I don't want to spoil too much about the end of the season of this podcast, but we're all going to turn into energy bigs.
Yeah, that's true.
I said that in a very weird way.
You
Yeah, you
did?
did.
Yeah.
Sure
We're going to
did.
break out of our flesh prisons, also known as skeletons.
So he was trapped in a flesh acheron. He was taken down to hell until they figured out what to do with him. And specifically was taken down by Madam Satan, a.k.a. Lilith, a.k.a. Madam Goldberg, as we call her here on the podcast. She had taken the form of Mary Wardwell, a teacher at Sabrina's school, who Sabrina liked quite a bit. Mary Wardwell came back at the end of the season. So we very briefly had 2 Michelle Gomez's. But Lilith took Nick, went to hell, and Sabrina almost immediately made the decision at the end of the season. This is the cliffhanger that we ended on. She was like, we're going to go down to hell and get my boyfriend Nick back, even though she just sent Nick to hell to keep him safe. That's how Sabrina rolls.
Yeah.
Doesn't really think about too much.
You miss him. You make a
Sure.
choice, and then you miss him, and then what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know what you do. You go down to hell, I guess. And she was thinking about going down to hell with her friends who decided they were called the Fright Club. They include her ex-boyfriend, Harvey Kinkle, who is now dating her good friend, Roz. Roz has a psychic ability called the Cunning, which gives her sight, which allows her to see the future. And Theo is their other friend.
And Theo had a lot of hang time with the ghost.
Theo had ghost powers last season. Theo had a aunt?
An ancestor, I believe.
Ancestor.
Technically.
Who was a ghost, was able to see her and chat with her.
And we thought she was sort of maybe nefarious. Didn't really turn out that way. And I'm very curious to see where that goes. Because it was at the end of the season, everyone a little bit had superpowers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm curious about going forward in the season. Is it still going to be this sort of super team?
Right, which is something that Buffy the Vampire Slayer had to as well. And I feel like most supernatural shows do at a certain point where they're like, we have this human character. They're the normal character. And then by season 3 or 4, it's like,
Nope, robot arm.
yeah, there you go. So that's the human characters. They go to a human school called Baxter High. They all go there together. However, Sabrina also goes to a witch school. The witch school had a huge amount of upheaval. Father Blackwood, the head of the school, turned it into a misogynist paradise towards the end of the season, using his Judas army. And the school was taken back. It was taken over by Sabrina's aunts, Zelda and Hilda. The Church of Night, which operated the school, was pretty much decimated. They were all taken to live back at the Spellman household. At the same time, Ambrose, who is Sabrina's cousin, headed off with Prudence, who is Sabrina's frenemy, to go track down Father Blackwood and get back Prudence's baby brother and sister, who were taken by Father Blackwood.
Because Prudence is Blackwood's daughter.
Yes. So that's kind of what's going on there. That's where we left everybody. There's also a very important character we should talk about, who is Dorcas, who is Prudence's friend. She's the main character of the show. I know we've been talking about Sabrina a lot, but really Dorcas is where it's at. Dorcas is one of Prudence's kind of adoptive sisters, along with Agatha, who's like of secondary importance. I think we can all agree.
Interesting hierarchy you're establishing
But
here.
Dorcas, main character in the show, very excited to see what's happening with her. She is currently living in the Spellman household.
And real quick, for those of us who aren't like as maybe familiar with Dorcas, I don't know how I've missed it. Tell me some characteristics about her.
Great question. Well, Dorcas has red hair.
Okay. I actually think it's sort of blonde, but sure.
Okay, I think it's red. Maybe it's a little dark. I don't know.
Cool.
You think it's blonde?
So blondish.
Pete, settle this debate. Justin and I have been fighting about
as
this.
the colorblind guy, I'm going to say red.
Nice.
Thank you, Pete.
Great choice. Tell me some more things, though, because that's
Sure.
something you could observe from, say, a minor character in the show.
Okay.
Tell me something else about
Dorcas hooked up with one of the other main characters in the show, Melvin, who is a witch at the school. And Melvin later got together with a witch named Elspeth, who is another fascinating, multifaceted character.
Major character,
Yes.
Great. I would ask.
I think that illuminates.
I have one more follow-up question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Do you have any more information?
No. You know what? Of course I do, but I'd rather hear your question.
Great. What are some of as the main character? What are some of the issues that Dorcas is struggling with in the narrative?
Oh boy!
Dorcas would you say she's a hero?
Sure. Dorcas is struggling with the fact that she used to hook up with Nick Scratch, and now she can't because Sabrina is hooking up with him. Sabrina, of course, the bad guy of the show, always getting in Dorcas's way.
Yep.
She deals with the fact that she has two sisters who are Agatha and Prudence. And did I mention Melvin?
You did.
All right. Well, there's some other stuff, but I don't
Melvin.
want to belabor this preview too much.
Good.
So let's talk about
the first
going
smart thing
into
you
part
said.
3 of the show. I know, Justin, you are very into what doesn't seem to be more of a love rhombus, if you will, at this point, because Harvey is with Roz, Nick Scratch is in hell, but Sabrina is very much in love with Nick Scratch.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a love triangle anymore. Whoa.
Did you just hit yourself in the face
No.
with a drumstick?
Nope, I did not. I think it's not a love triangle anymore. I think
By
it's...
the way, when does your band play again?
Just thinking about starting a band. Right now.
Okay.
It's like-
Very cool band.
sound effects. I think that Nick and Sabrina are the couple.
Yeah.
And Harvey and Roz are a second couple.
Yeah. Well, as I
Wow.
already established, Sabrina
That's
as
bold.
the
That's
bad.
a bold statement you put out there.
Do you disagree, Pete?
No, I agree. I just think he's just calling out.
This is a bold statement I have no problems with.
Yeah.
Well, I'm making fun of him for just saying the fact that now we have two couples.
Well, but I think the idea is that there's a love triangle there. The second part of the show definitely was dealing with Sabrina's conflict
Right, because
between
the
the two
whole
boys.
first season was how much Sabrina was in love with Harvey and how they're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
And then, as people get older and experience life more, they say, oh, that young love that I thought was so perfect.
You talk about the difference between like sophomore and junior year.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's not as perfect as you thought, or you move on. But I I feel like maybe Sabrina's going to come back around to old Harv.
Do you think the hook is going to bring her back?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't telling me no lies.
Great.
Nope.
You really think that? You think it's still? You think this season? You think this season we're going to see Harvey making more of a trying to get back with Sabrina?
No, I think Harvey and Roz are really great, but I was very much shipping Sabrina and Harvey. I thought they were perfect together, but the show kind of evolved past that, which at first I was mad at, but now I'm not mad anymore. But I think maybe because Nick Scratch is just a flash in the pan. He's just a nobody, and he's just like...
Bad boys got to be bad.
I don't know.
People outgrow bad boys.
He hooked into Sabrina immediately. The second she walked into the school, he was like, "You will be mine. Oh yes, you will be mine."
Yeah.
Good. Was that a good?
That's creepy.
Yes.
No, that's Wayne's World.
Yeah.
I'm making very current references, and I just don't think you guys are picking up
You're
on them.
100% fresh.
So you're anything else? Any other predictions, thoughts about this part that you want to chat about?
I'm curious to see Sabrina straddling two worlds all of last season. She was going to two different high schools, the homework alone.
Sure.
Well, just as long as she doesn't pile on more shit, I'll be that big fine.
Well, but like, what world the witch school is sort of wrecked,
Right.
So, Are we going to see her fully invested in the high school?
Human school.
Yeah, I would just call that high school. Because when you were a kid, were you like, "Oh, finally, I'm going to human school"?
Yeah. Elementary school, junior human school, and then human school.
He's weird like that's like he'll point at bears and be like, "That's a land bear." That's a space bear.
Space bear.
Right. Very different.
So that's one thing. Will it continue to be a straddling of two worlds, which the character Sabrina was all about?
But
which world does she belong in? And I feel like that's been settled in she feels like 100% in the witch world as a character, but now her life is in the human world.
See,
Nick's gone.
I think that's this next season is going to be kind of like a breakup of all these different things, and then hopefully by the end of it, we'll get everybody back because we have people going off on separate missions. The school's not there. Is Sabrina going to invest more in the human school? Like, what's going to happen? And hopefully we'll get some kind of like get the band back together because I don't like Ambrose away from what's happening. He's one of my favorite characters, and I don't know if that was like an actor being like, I don't know if I'm going to take out the work or what that was, but
what?
Weird guess.
Well, it's just when someone's like, "Oh, I'm going to go off on a separate mission." I'm like, "Why is somebody writing that?"
Do you think the actors make those decisions?
No, but I just think that like if the writer knows Ambrose is iffy, maybe they give him an out.
Yeah, it's crazy when Frasier in Cheers was like, "I'm going to go start on another show in Seattle."
Cool.
Everybody loves Chance Redobo. He's great. Like, they love him on the show. They want him to be on the show. I don't think that's a factor.
Okay, good, because the fact that he's leaving for a solo mission makes me nervous.
They just, to your point, they're going to send everybody off together, and then they're going to bring everybody back together.
I hope that's what happens.
Drama works.
I hope so.
That's how it's going to happen.
You don't know that.
I mean, nobody knows that.
Well, then shut the fuck up.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we will see, and I guess you all will see as we recap every episode. Yes,
I would want to say though that we're talking about a lot about stuff, but like I think it's a great show. It's a lot of fun, amazing cast. I think they did a great job of like embracing the Sabrina we know and love, and then making different choices. And I'm very excited for this next season.
Me too. I think it's also feels different from Riverdale. Like, it's not the same thing as Riverdale. We recap different. Riverdale on the Riverdale After Dark podcast. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. We are going to be rolling out episodes on the first weekend and going forward in the Chilling Podcast of Sabrina feed specifically. So go subscribe there. You can get that on iTunes, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice. Also, comment on the iTunes feeds in particular. That helps us out a lot. You can support our podcast and other podcasts, patreon.com/comic book club. We do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at the People's Improv Theater Loft in New York. Come on by. We'll definitely chat with you about Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Also, a couple of places you can follow us socially. Follow all of our Riverdale handles. You could do Riverdale Dark on Twitter, Riverdale After on Instagram, Riverdale After Dark on Facebook. And yeah, there we go. Very excited to recap this season. See you later, witches.
Get witchy.